Hey everybody, this is Jeff Goins. Welcome. We're trying a new format here, so let us know in the chat if you can see and hear me. Kyle, say hi to everybody.
Hey everybody.
I forget how all these tools work, so I want to make sure I got everything going. I think I can make myself a presenter or something. I don't know how that works. We'll figure that out. Let's go. You're going to look at the chat. I'm not going to be able to see that. So can you test that out and make sure everybody can see and hear us okay?
Yeah, let me do that.
Guys, while you're tuning in, hopefully you can see and hear us. Go ahead and post in the chat where you're tuning in from. We have an international audience. It's always great to hear where people are coming from. I am just outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and so it's great to be with you here today, whether it's morning, noon, or night, wherever you are. Let us know where that is. We're so glad to have you.
It looks good, Jeff. It seems like everybody can see and hear.
Great, cool. So I'm going to tell you real quick how this is going to go. And you can use the chat throughout the presentation. Kyle will be watching that. We've got some Q&A at the end. And he and I think our ninja, Sandy, will also be in there, who'll be helping folks with any questions that you have, but then I'll be answering questions at the very end. So again, my name is Jeff Goins. I'm the best-selling author of 5 books, and today I want to share with you a very simple system that I used to quit my job, become a full-time writer, and start making a full-time living as a writer, which is fun. That's incredible. That's great. But what I want to share with you today is how I took that same system and how I've walked thousands of people through this process and helped them achieve their writing dreams, whether it was publishing a book, whether it was becoming a full-time blogger, whether it was using their writing to become a speaker, coach, consultant, whatever it is that you want to do. I believe that now is the best time to use your writing to build an audience and actually get paid to share your message with the world. So I want to share that whole system with you that people have paid me thousands of dollars for. I want to share that with you for free. In the chat, just let me know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. Are you psyched about that, or is that not a good idea? No strings attached. I want to share that whole system with you. It's a 4-step process. Then at the very end, you'll have an exclusive opportunity to join one of my courses. If you want to go deeper with me, there's no pressure to buy anything, but I do want to say that this is the best time, the best opportunity to join this course. If you're thinking about it, this is really the best deal that you won't be able to get anywhere else. Then we're going to do Q&A for as long as I possibly can to answer as many of your questions, because I want everybody leaving here with a breakthrough, and that we're really going to try to do that. So if you've got a need, a question, something that you want to see change, I want to help you achieve that change today. At least take the first steps towards that. Then we've got a special giveaway for everybody that I won't tell you about till the end, but I will give you a hint that it's quality time with me. We'll talk more about that at the Q&A time, and then we'll do Q&A, and it'll be just a really good time. I'm here. Kyle's here in the background. He'll be watching a lot of the questions. The way you get entered for the giveaway that we'll do at the end, so make sure you stick around to the end, is you've got to ask a question, and Kyle will take the best question asker, and we'll announce that in the middle of the Q&A. Okay, so what I'm going to do, keep that chat going, guys. If I am showing the wrong slide or mess up, Kyle is here to let me know. And if you have any questions, or if you can't see or hear something, go ahead and let us know in the chat. Sometimes it helps to refresh things, just refresh your browser, reload it, and a lot of times sound and video can clear up. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to turn on my screen. So let me know real quick if you can see this screen right now. It should say how to make a living writing, a live training by Jeff Goins. Let me know if you can see that slide and still hear me. It's a big red slide. Kyle, can you see that?
I do, yeah, it looks good.
Wonderful, great. Sometimes technology works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm so glad to hear that it's working today. Guys, what I've got is I've got about 45 minutes of teaching for you, and then I'll share that offer with you, and then we'll move to the Q&A and the giveaway and have a great old time. We're going to shoot for getting through all that in the next hour, and being done and out of here in the next 90 minutes, including answering all your questions and all that. So I don't want to rush things, but I don't want to drag certain things out. So I'm going to move quickly. I encourage you to turn off, any technology other than what you're using to watch this. Put your phone away. Tune into this. Pay attention. I'm going to have a lot of slides for you. I would recommend that you pull out something to take notes with. Like I said, this is a training that people have literally paid thousands of dollars for. I'm giving it to you for free. I think it could be the difference between where you are now and a legitimate breakthrough in your writing if you apply this stuff. So I think it's very valuable. I don't want you to miss out on anything. Try to pay attention. So this is called How to Make a Living Writing, starring yours truly, me. Or the longer title is How I Got 10,000 Fans, Launched 2 Books, and Made $150,000 in 6 months. So that is what I'm going to share with you. And this is not just a system that I've used, but that literally thousands of other people have used to achieve success. By the way, sometimes people go, well, has anybody really achieved that level of success? They made 150 grand in 6 months. And the answer is no. People that I've taught haven't achieved that. Some of them have achieved even more. And so I'm not here to tell you what success looks like for you or a limit and say you can do what I did, because you can do even better. But maybe you're not interested in that. Maybe you just want to start a blog or tell your story or share your message with the world, and you're not quite sure how to do that. I want to share with you how best-selling authors and nationally renowned speakers and world-class coaches, how they build their audiences, the proven way to do this where you take all the guesswork out, and how 99% of the professional communicators I know today, how they did it. But before I tell you, all that, I want to hear from you guys. So we've got some questions to ask you. Kyle, how do you want to do these questions? Just have people answer them in the chat?
Yeah, let's do that. So here's the deal, guys. I'm going to give you 3 options, 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to tell me which one of these best describes you. So option number 1 is you're here because you're not sure if you're a writer or not. You're interested in learning more about what it would look like to make a living out of your writing, or even just supplement your income with that. You have a message that you think you want to share, but you're just not quite sure. So if that's you, you think you're a writer, you're not sure, you're kind of here to figure that out, I want you to type a 1 in the chat. The second option is maybe you're somebody who, you're a writer, that's something you want to do, but you haven't actually written the book yet, and you're looking for help to actually sit down, write that book, and get it to the finish line. If that's you, if you're somebody who you're a writer, you're wanting to write a book, then I want you to type a 2 in the chat. And the last option is if you've already written a book. We have a lot of people in our community who have already written books before, and they that they've offered them before and maybe were disappointed by the sales, or maybe they were happy but they just want to continue selling that book, and they're looking for a plan to sell a book that they've already written. So those are your 3 options. Let us know what you're here for, 1, 2, or 3, and we'd love to just learn a little bit more about you.
Yeah, and we'll do this throughout the presentation. I'll ask a question, Cal will throw out the options, and we'll give you a minute to answer those. While you're typing in 1, 2, or 3, again, I just want to welcome everybody. If you're just joining us, you came in a little bit late, you haven't missed much. We're going to jump into some teaching. We're going to have some Q&A time. We're going to do a giveaway at the end, so stick around to the end. But because I just believe in the value of attention. I know it's costing you something to be here, and maybe you're going, I don't know if this is going to be worth my time or not. I just want to thank you. So we're going to have a giveaway at the end, but we're also going to have a giveaway at the very beginning. So it's kind of like Oprah, where you get a prize, you get a prize, you get a prize. So everybody, just for being here, I want to thank you for being here. We have a free downloadable resource called The Beginner's Guide to Building an Audience. This is the link for it. Kyle, if we can go ahead and put that in the chat, people can
you bet.
that as well.
It'll be there in less than a minute.
Okay, is everything all right?
No, everything's good. I'm just finding the link.
Okay, cool. It's bit.ly.
There it is. Sandy's put it in there.
Audience guide. There you go.
Thank you, Sandy.
Yeah, so you guys can just click that and put that in your browser, and that is a link. You don't have to enter your email. You don't have to do anything with that. This is an ebook that I wrote about the process of how I built an online audience of over 100,000 people, and how you can follow that same process. Now we're going to go into depth on this for the next 40 or so minutes, and I can answer any questions that you have. But at the end of this, you're going to go, oh, I wish I had something to look back on This book is that for you. It's the notes from this and also some bonus resources there as well. So bit.ly/audience guide, or you can click the link in the chat. So enjoy that. Again, thanks just for being here. Let's go back to that survey question, Kyle. We're
Jeff,
asking.
one thing I want to say before you dive in, or it sounds
sure.
like you already asked me, but hey guys, the chat feature it makes a little ding every time somebody posts something. If you find that annoying, underneath that box at the bottom right, you'll see a little sound icon, and if you click it, it'll mute that, and you won't hear that little ding every time somebody posts something. So if that's been a distraction for you, that's something you can do to turn that sound off. What were you gonna say, Jeff?
Well, I was gonna go back to that. Why are people here? You're looking at the chat.
I am, yeah.
I'm sure the numbers are scrolling. Any sense of how many ones, twos, or threes that we have?
Yeah, we opened up with a lot of 2s and 3s, and then a little bit later on, we got some 1s too. But yeah, I see a lot of people who have a book they want to write. I've seen some people who've said 2 and also kind of 3. Christina said that.
Cool.
I think Ghost Written said that. So yeah, we have we have a good mix of everybody.
Cool. We're going to do this throughout the presentation, ask you questions. We want this to be interactive. By the way, whether you're a 1, 2, or 3, this presentation is going to help you. It's always good to know where people are coming from, but whether you think of yourself as a writer, whether you've got a book already written, or you aspire to write a book someday, as many, many people do, I'm going to walk you through the process about how most professional writers, I'm talking 99%, today, bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be, how they go pro. This is how I did it, but this is how I consistently see people do it year after year. In fact, week after week, month after month, I'll share with you several recent examples of students of mine who've gone through my course that have achieved success following this process. So it really is the best time to start making a living writing. So if you have questions or comments, go ahead and use the comment box, little chat box in front of you. You can ask questions as you go. Sandy, who's in the chat, everybody say hi to Sandy. She'll answer any questions that you have. Kyle will be flagging some of the big questions that we have throughout the presentation, and then he'll kind of be serving those up to me for the Q&A at the very end, and then I'll be answering as many questions as I possibly can. So just bear that in mind. You guys can talk to each other. I would encourage you to refrain from promoting a bunch of stuff or sending people elsewhere. Again, I really want you guys to focus on this presentation right now, but feel free to connect with each other, ask questions, and we'll be watching that throughout the presentation. I'll be answering those at the end. So that's why you're here. That's great. We're going to help you. I'm committed to doing that, and I want you to give me feedback at the end of this on whether or not this was helpful to you. Here's why I'm here. I'm here because several years ago, I had the most amazing year of my life. And in that year, I got over 100,000 blog readers per month to my brand new blog. I published 2 books. I made $150,000 really in about 6 months. And I quit my job. My wife also quit her job to become a full-time mom, which was a dream of hers. And we couldn't afford for her to do that. And our life has never been the same since. How did this happen? Because of writing. More specifically, I started a blog. Many of you are probably readers of that blog, or you've heard about it, or you've seen it somewhere at some point. And it all started with this very simple habit of publishing content, putting out on a blog. I was just talking to a coaching client of mine, and he says, I've got all these ideas, I know all this information, I've got all these tools that I'm using, but I'm not creating content. I'm not blogging. He goes, what should I do? What system should I follow? What tool should I buy? I said, you just need to start blogging. And I walked him through this system that I'm about to share with you. So this is why I'm here. I believe in blogging. I think it's a great way to launch a career as a writer, or use your writing to build a business or generate either some side income or full-time living, so that you can get the attention that your message deserves. But when I share this, I mean, this happened several years ago now, people ask me a question: is it too late? And the answer to that is no, it's not too late. Not because I did this 5 years ago or 6 years ago, not because I know people who did it 10 years ago, but because every single year I see hundreds of people make this transition from amateur to pro. This is a picture from my recent Tribe conference where these are all the people that published a book recently. And we're all just taking a picture of that from just a handful of folks in our community. And I love seeing this. I love seeing people's writing dreams come true, seeing them use their writing to get the attention their message deserves and start making money off their writing. So I'm here to tell you it's possible, but I'm not going to say it's easy. I love what Sandy, who's in our chat right now and is a member of our team, also a student of ours, she said, it's work, right? But it's good work. And I love that. So this is not necessarily easy, but it's not at the same time grueling, and it's good, rewarding work. What I'm going to share with you is a proven process about how you can go from an amateur writer to professional writer, somebody who does it for fun to somebody who does it for a living. But I have to challenge you. You've got to do the work. If you do the work, you're going to see the results. That's my promise to you. Is it going to take 7 days or 7 weeks? I don't know. I think depending on how much free time you have and how much effort you put forth, yeah, the results do vary. I think that's we have to be honest about that, because your success is going to look different from somebody else's success. But if you apply yourself to this process, it's a proven process. You're going to see results. You're going to have success. Now, if I'm you at this point, I'm thinking, well, yeah, but especially several years ago when I was just getting started, I had all these excuses in my mind. Yeah, but you don't know me. I don't, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough opportunity or resources, or I didn't get lucky like those people. And I think all of those reasons for not starting are valid. I'm not here to say, oh, no, that's not true. You have plenty of time. You have plenty of money. You have plenty of opportunity. You may not. But what I believe is that now is the best time to become a writer, to share your message with the world, to use your writing to build an audience and start getting paid for the message that you have to share. But here's my challenge to you. What are you looking for? Because I believe that whatever you're looking for, you're going to find. So if you're looking for an excuse, guess what? You're going to find one. You're going to realize, oh yeah, I don't have enough time. You keep telling yourself you don't have enough time. Guess what's going to probably come true? You're going to feel like you don't have enough time. And if you, on the other hand, are looking for a way to succeed, you're going to find that too. So what are you looking for? An excuse or a way? Because whatever you're looking for, you're going to find. So I have to ask you a question before we jump into this and I start sharing with you the 4 keys to becoming a full-time writer. Are you willing to do the work? And I'm serious about that. I want you to put this in the chat and don't take this lightly. Can I ask you to commit to this process for the next half an hour or so? Are you willing to apply some lessons that maybe you've never applied, to try some things that maybe you've never tried, or even to try some things that you've tried and failed at, but consider maybe I didn't quite do that just right? Can I challenge you in hopes of helping you learn something you've never learned before and achieve a breakthrough you've never before seen? So are you willing to do the work? Put in the chat, I'm in. And if you're not in, if you're not willing, that's okay. I don't want to waste any more of your time. Now's a good time to, close your laptop, X out of this window and go back to whatever you're doing. But if you're in, I want to ask you to commit to this process, be open to some new ideas. Let me challenge you a little bit. And if I haven't convinced you that this is a proven process by the end, then just go, it didn't work for me. I totally respect that. That's totally fine. But I am committed to doing everything I can to give you my best stuff, helping you for free on this webinar to help you see a breakthrough. If you're in and you're willing to do the work, because I'm going to give you a couple of little mini assignments that you can do in the next 24 hours to start seeing some results. If you're willing to do that, then just say, I'm in. While you're doing that, again, if you're not in, now's a good time to go do something else. What we're talking about here is moving from amateur to professional. And I have observed, not just through my own experience, but through studying the masters, best-selling authors, popular speakers and bloggers and thought leaders. How did they do this? And a lot of them they used blogging and internet marketing and email marketing to build an audience around their ideas, their stories, their art, whatever it is that they had to share. And this is how they went pro. I'm going to share with you how they did it, how I've done it, and how every year I see hundreds of people replicate the success and even exceed my own success to achieve incredible results, because this stuff works. So that's what we're talking about here. I want to know if you want in on this. Or are you in? Just go ahead and put that in the chat. Kyle, what are people saying? Are they in or are they out? It'd be a little bit embarrassing if everybody said I'm out.
It would be. We got a lot of people in. I see a lot of capital letters. They're in.
I love capital letters. They're my favorite kind of letter. Okay, guys, we've got 4 keys here. I'm going to share them with you. We're going to move through this quickly. Take notes, pay attention. I'm going to talk quickly just so I can get through all of this and still have time for your questions. But if you if you go, wait, I didn't understand that, just write it down and we'll tackle it in the Q&A. 4 keys to making a living writing. The first one is this. You need a clear message. It begins with the message. I believe that it is better to be clear than it is to be good. What do I mean by that? Well, every day I get an email from a writer, sometimes many people. They send me their manuscript, their blog post, and they say, hey, is this good? Can you tell me, is this any good? Is this good writing? Am I a good writer? Is this good? And I tell them I can't answer that because I don't believe that there is such a thing as good writing. Now, some of you are going, whoa, whoa, whoa. Of course there's good writing and there's really bad writing. But let me counter that with a question. What does it mean to be a good writer? Who can you say right now is objectively, universally, everybody agrees, a good writer? Let's take Ernest Hemingway, one of the most influential and famous authors of the 20th century. During his lifetime, he had critics and detractors and people who said, yeah, he's not that good. Or even today, people I was reading on Goodreads, people were critiquing The Sun Also Rises, and I go, I didn't get it. I give it like 2 out of 5 stars. And I mean, here's a guy who won the Nobel Prize for literature and throughout his lifetime. And afterwards, people are going, yeah, I don't get it. So is he a good writer? Well, certainly some people say, no, not really. He doesn't do it for me. Let's take a more recent contemporary example. The billionaire author, best-selling author of the Harry Potter series, J.K. Rowling. Is she a good writer? Well, there's people say, she uses too many adverbs. Her stories are just okay. The prose is just all right. Probably the most famous, successful writer alive today. And there are plenty of people who say she's not that good. What do both of these writers, in fact, every great writer, have in common? They're not trying to please everybody. They're trying to be effective, not good. So clarity trumps perfection. It's better to be clear, effectively reaching a particular audience, than it is to try to win everybody's accolades and attention, because it's just not possible. So I want you to exchange trying to be good with trying to be effective. That's the first thing. If we're going to have clear messages, we have to effectively reach an audience. And the way that we do that is we write with a worldview. Every great writer has a worldview. Now, what does that mean? Well, a worldview is just what it sounds. It's a way that you view the world. You've got to have a perspective, something that is unique to you, that you infuse into your voice, so that when somebody reads multiple novels or multiple blog posts or sees, lots of different speeches from you, they like all of them, because it's not just a topic or a subject or a niche that you're chasing. It's a worldview. It's a particular way of looking at the world that is unique to you, that your audience is going to resonate with. So how does this work? How do you find your worldview? Well, it's really simple. You answer this simple question. What wrecks you? What upsets you? What drives you nuts? What is something that you feel is wrong with the world that you know how to fix? And a great answer to this question is to fill in the blanks here. Every blank, and this could be a type of a person or a people group, can or should blank. So here's some examples of worldviews. Every person should recycle, right? That's a worldview that some people agree with and some people don't. Every mom can build a successful business without sacrificing her family. That's a worldview. That's something that some people obviously believe and some people obviously do not believe. Every politician should be honest. These are worldviews. These are things that people believe. And when you proclaim them to the world, what you're doing is you're drawing a line in the sand and you're saying, you're either with me or you're not. And it's okay. It's like, you don't have to be divisive or controversial, but you do want your content to be so clear that when people see it, they go, that's definitely for me, or it's not. It's like Seinfeld. Some people love the show Seinfeld and some people hate it. I've never met somebody who goes, yeah, like I kind of like Seinfeld. It's pretty good. Like they either totally get the joke, they totally get the sense of humor, or they absolutely do not. For what it's worth, I love Seinfeld. And if you don't, I'm not sure that we can be friends, but that's, neither here nor there. Every blank can or should blank. You need a worldview. What are we talking about here? Talking about going from amateur to professional. Amateurs confuse, Professionals write clearly. They clarify their message with an audience. They're not worried about being good. They're trying to be effective. They're trying to connect their ideas and their stories with an audience. So how do we do this? How do we find our worldview? How do we find our voices so that we can start building a platform and sharing our message with the world, finding our tribes, and make money writing? How do we do that? Well, the first thing that we have to do is we have to start with the influence that we already have. So you don't have to go across the world or send a telegram message to the other side of the ocean. You can start with the people that are already listening to you. So let me ask you a question. Go ahead and answer this in the chat right now. Do you have 5 friends that you can reach out to today in the next 24 hours? In fact, you could text them right now. Do you have 5 people that you know, including spouses and family members, people that will give you honest feedback that you could reach out to right now, and you know that by tomorrow they would have replied to your email or your text? Yes or no? Put it in the chat. Yes, I have 5 friends. Or no, I don't have 5 friends. If you don't have 5 friends, then we're going to get you some friends before this thing is over. But I'm hoping that most of you have 5 friends. Kyle, what are people saying? Do they have 5 friends? Yes or no?
So far, I've only seen yeses.
Love that. Hallelujah. Good for you guys. You are a friendly group. Here's your first assignment. We've got 4 keys here. And we've got 4 little mini homework assignments. Here's your takeaway. I want you to email those 5 friends right now and ask them to describe you in 3 words or phrases. That's it. Hey, I saw this, funny looking redheaded guy on this, video thing. And he asked me to reach out to 5 friends and ask them to describe me. If you're a writer and they know you're writing, you're already, you've already got a book or you've got a blog and they're familiar with your writing, you could ask them to describe your writing. If not, just ask them to describe you. It's fine. We're just trying to get some feedback. And I want you to do that right now. Just write that down and you can, finish the exercise when this thing is over. But take a moment and just write this down. Write down the names of the 5 people you're going to reach out to right now. And you're just going to ask them to describe you. Hey, I saw this webinar. This guy asked us to reach out to 5 friends and just ask them to describe describe me in 3 words or phrases. How do you think of me? That's it. You don't have to have any other context. Now, what you're going to do with those 5 names is you're going to email them what I just said, or text them or whatever. And you're going to look for threads and themes, commonalities. So, hey, you're really thoughtful and really nice and a great person or whatever. You are well-read and intelligent and kind of opinionated. And what you want to see is if there's any resonance. This is just the beginning of this process, but it's a good first step in finding your voice, clarifying your message, and figuring out what is the thing that you have to say to the world that you're sort of taking for granted. And all you're trying to get is a sense of a direction in which to go. So if everybody says you're funny and you go, I never thought of myself as funny, then that may be something that you're overlooking that you want to dig a little bit deeper into. But this is how we begin to clarify our message, is by connecting what we have to say to the world with people who are already listening and getting feedback. I believe that you find your voice, not when you're just writing whatever you want to write, but you're writing what you want to write and there's resonance. There's people saying, yep, that makes sense. I'm connecting with that. Again, that is how you create a worldview. All right, that's the first key. Let's move on to key number 2. Platform. Platform, platform, platform. Who here is tired of hearing that word? Just go ahead and say me in the chat. I'm tired of hearing about platform. I remember starting out as a writer just several years ago, not that long ago, and I was exhausted by this term. I had spent almost a decade trying to write and start a blog and start a business and do these different things. And I wasn't quite sure what I was missing, but I was doing it in these fits and starts. I had 8 blogs that had failed, and I was on my 9th blog and it was headed towards failure, and I still hadn't figured this out. And I was desperately trying to, figure it all out. And I was tired of hearing about it because I had this idea in my head that there was only one way to do it. And if that's you today, I want to give you some good news. There's actually more than one way to build a platform. And what I've observed over the years is there are basically 5 major ways to build a platform that 99.9% of writers, bloggers, coaches, and speakers fit into. And again, we're talking about blogging here. I'll talk more about the technical side of this in just a bit. But the how and why and the personality behind it is very important if you want to connect your message with the world and see some real resonance and actually grow an audience around it. So there's not a million ways to do it. There's about 5 major ways to do it. I want to share them with you and then ask you at the end to pick one. Not all 5, not 3, not 2.5, pick one. So be thinking about this and think about not what you would like or which one describes your favorite author. Think which one describes you, not which one you want, but which one you are. Okay, so let's begin. The first platform personality is what I call the journalist. By the way, like if you kind of minimize the window, you went and did something else, I want you to come back here right now. Come back here right now and look at this. This teaching, this little section right here about platform personalities is the thing that we hear consistently over and over and over again from our students, people come to these webinars. Guys, this is the best thing that I've ever heard. I've never heard anywhere else before. This was worth the money. This is worth the price of admission. So pay attention to this. Write this down. This would be invaluable for you. For a lot of you, this would be a big breakthrough. First one is the journalist. What does a journalist do? Well, they ask questions, right? This is how they build their platform. And the only requisite for this is you have to be a little bit curious. You've got to be like my 4-year-old son who's always going, why, dad, why? Well, because son, and a great example of this is Darren Rowse. Darren Rowse is not a reporter for the New York Times. You don't have to technically be a journalist, but he started his blog, ProBlogger.net, which is a blog about how to make money blogging. Guess what? He started out not as an expert. He didn't know how to do this. He began his blog with a very simple question. Is this possible? How do people do it? So what did he do? Well, he went out in search of the answer and he started interviewing bloggers who were making money and he started testing some of the things that he was learning from them. And over time, he shared what he learned. He shared the answers to his questions. And over time, he built an audience and he became an expert. And so this is one way to do it if you aren't already an expert, if you don't feel like you have some secret hidden knowledge or expertise, you can just start with a question. My friend Brian Harris calls this learning out loud. And I love that. This is a great way to start a podcast or a blog and you want to build some credibility and influence around a certain worldview. You've got an idea that you want to share, but you aren't quite the expert that you want to be. Well, just start talking to people who are smarter, more famous, more influential than you are, and getting the answers, which this is not that hard to do. We can talk in the Q&A about how to do that, how to reach out to influencers. But the bottom line is you can start with questions and over time become the expert by sharing the answers that you're learning from other experts. Oprah is another great example of this. Lots of podcasts where they're interviewing famous people, most talk shows, Larry King, lots of these people are embodying the journalist platform. They're just asking questions, and anybody who's curious can do that. Okay, the second platform personality is the prophet. This is a person who builds his platform by telling the dirty, ugly, nasty truth about whatever, about everything and anything. And the only requisite for this is you have to be a little bit dissatisfied with the status quo. Great example of this is one of my favorite bloggers and authors, a guy named Seth Godin. If you're unfamiliar with Seth's work, Seth has a blog. He's one of the most prolific bloggers on the internet. In fact, he's so well known that if you just Google the name Seth, his blog shows up, #1 on Google. And he's been blogging for nearly 20 years, every day, sometimes multiple times a day. And he is a prophet through and through because his worldview is the system is broken, but we can fix it. And he takes that world, and this is why I think writing with a worldview is really powerful. He takes that and he brings it to lots of different arenas. He talks about politics and business and marketing. He talks about the TSA at airports and how the public education system is broken and philanthropy. And again, it's just the system is broken, but we can fix it. That is the voice of a prophet. You cannot be afraid of a little bit of a fight if you want to be a prophet. And you're not always going to be popular, but 18 best-selling books later, this approach is working pretty good for Seth, and it'll work well for you too. Okay, the third personality is what I call the artist. For those of you who are going, oh, like I don't want to teach or, necessarily quote unquote help people. So how do I do this? You might be the artist. This is a person who builds her platform by creating art, kind of like it sounds. The only requisite for this is you've got to have an eye for beauty. And one of my favorite artists is a woman, an author by the name of Anne Voskamp. Anne is a spiritual writer. She has a blog and 3 best-selling books. And she started out on her blog writing prose poetry, which is just longer form essays that are beautifully written, but it's not like 5 steps to a better life necessarily. I remember one time in one of Anne's essays, she described for like 2 pages in her book a bubble when she was washing the dishes in the sink. And it's beautiful. And she's describing a bubble. So lest you think that the only way to build a platform is by, 7 steps to a better you, or, becoming the next, BuzzFeed, you might be an artist. And look at Anne, who had a New York Times best-selling book on the bestseller list for over a year. And she has millions of blog readers. None of these personalities are going to make your success any less or more likely. It's just about finding the right one that works for you and using it to the best of your abilities. And all of these are possible to achieve success. And all the people I'm sharing with you are very successful individuals. So it really is about just finding the personality that works well for you. And that is the artist. Okay, we've got 2 more, guys. The 4th is the professor. Now, this is a person who builds his platform on the facts. These people are obsessed with data, getting it right and knowing how everything works. The only requisite for this is you have to have a thirst for knowledge. You got to love learning. Great example of this is my friend, Michael Hyatt. If you go to michaelhyatt.com, you will see very clearly that what Michael is trying to do is empower leaders to lead themselves to maximize their impact in work and family and life. And how is he doing this? Every blog post, very simple. It's almost a formula. It's brilliant stuff, but it is taking a complex problem and it is providing an easy to follow solution or process that anybody can apply today. So what does he have? He's got research, science-backed research, or I read a lot of books, and he weaves in some of his own personal experience. And then at the end of nearly every blog post, there's steps. There's something that you can do or apply to achieve that breakthrough. And this is what a professor does. They break things down and make them easy to follow steps for you, their readers. The 5th and final platform personality is what I call the star. Now, if you've ever watched a YouTube show or a reality TV show, or you've seen somebody on Instagram, take a picture of their breakfast and get 10,000 likes, and you're going, why are people paying attention to this? This is why. These people are stars. And the star personality builds her platform on her charisma, just attracting people to herself. You're not trying to point people to stories or research. You're not necessarily asking questions. You're typically saying, here's what worked for me. Here's what I learned from this. Here's what I'm going through right now. You're basically a human guinea pig. You don't have to be a celebrity to do this. And if you're wondering if this might be you, the answer to the question is, when somebody comes to you and asks you for help, or they ask you a question, if your first response is, well, here's what I did, here's how I worked through that, then you might be a star, because this is what people do is they're basically helping people using their lives sort of as a mirror for people, so that in their stories, in the story of a star, you see your own story. These people are well known for their likable personalities. Why are they so likable? Well, because they like people. And so the only requisite for this is you've got to have a heart for people. You've got to like people somewhat, being around them and wanting to share with them and help them grow. It's the heart of a counselor. And typically, you're saying, here's what worked for me, and it could work for you. So a great example of this is Anne Lamott. Anne has written a number of best-selling nonfiction and fiction books, but she's best known as a memoirist. I love her book, Bird by Bird. It is a must-read for any aspiring writer or even professional writer. Bird by Bird, you got to get it. So what Anne does in her writing is she said, hey, if I got through this, you can get through it too. If I got through the current political season, you can do that too. If I survived parenthood, then you can too. And so if you've got a story to share, maybe a survival story, you survived childhood abuse and you want to share hope with other abuse victims. Maybe you've got some experience. You said, hey, if I lost 50 pounds, going vegan, you can do the same. If I survived cancer, you can do the same. These people are typically helping others just by sharing their lives with one another. Anne does this in a very self-effacing, funny way, and it works. She's not trying to be the expert. She's not sharing research or data. She's just sharing her life, but she's doing it in a very winsome way. And that is the power and charisma of a star. So I've shared with you 5 platform personalities. Now I want you to pick one. Which one of the 5 are you? Again, we've got I'll try to remember these because sometimes I forget 5 is a big number. We've got the journalist, we've got the prophet, we've got the artist, the professor, and the star. Just write which one of those 5 you most closely align with. No, I'm not going to let you be all of them. You got to pick one. In case you're wondering, I tend to align I feel like there's parts of me that are all 5 of these, but I tend to align most closely to the prophet, which is, I'm somebody who goes, here's the truth, deal with it. Like I try to do that in a nice way, but really like I'm just trying to say bold things and hope that it resonates with the right audience. So go ahead and post in the chat, which one of the 5 are you? Kyle, maybe you can share some of those as they're coming in.
Yeah, you bet. I've put them in there. We've got, let's see, Jenny's a star, Lisa's a star, Sarah's a star. Look at all these stars. Guest 4267 is a star. Alice is a prophet.
It's neat.
Sandy's a star. Man, look at all these stars. They're the ones who speak up, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Rachel
Yeah.
Claire's either a star or a journalist, and
Cool.
Claire Vadi Nathan is an artist.
Awesome. Very cool. There's no right answer here, guys. One time somebody asked me, which one of these will allow me to make the most money or become the most successful? And the answer is any of these will do that for you. It's really about picking the one that you most closely align with and then just going all in on that. And again, what we're talking about here is amateurs and professionals. Amateurs wait to be discovered. They wait for their big break, and professionals build a unique platform around their particular personality. So here's your takeaway. You need to pick a platform personality, one of the 5, commit to it for the next 30 days. So I want you to blog. I want you to write at least once a week. We're going to talk about the mechanics of this in just a second. For the next 30 days in that personality, nothing else, stay focused, and think of it like a coat. Put it on, try it out and see how it feels. And if it doesn't fit after 30 days, you can put it back on the rack and put another one on. But commit to this, try it on, go all in, and see where it takes you. That's the takeaway for this. That's the second P, which is platform. The third one is tribe. Now, we've talked about message, right? Got to have a clear message. And that comes through having a worldview. We've talked about platform. That begins with picking a platform personality and getting a blog. We're going to talk about that more in this section. And before we have something worth sharing, and before we can start making money off of this, what do we need? We've got the message, we've got the platform. What do we need now? Well, we need a tribe. We need an audience. And if you don't have that, then you don't have much. All you've got is a big empty stage and a big empty room where nobody's listening, and you're all alone. And so sometimes people go, I've got the website, I've got this, I've got that. I just need people. And that's really important. So how do you get those people? Do you get them through Instagram and Facebook? And where is your tribe? I'm going to make it very simple for you because people get lost in the complexity of this. What you need, forget all that stuff that you've heard. The one thing that you need, the one thing that every professional writer and blogger and speaker that I have worked with or that I know personally, they have this one thing. What is it? It's an email list. An email list is essential to any online business or serious platform. You cannot build a platform and therefore get an audience, a tribe, without an email list. It just doesn't work. Why is this? Well, because email is the most universal way to communicate with the most amount of people online. What do I mean by that? Well, some people have a Facebook account. A lot of people have Facebook accounts. Some people are on Twitter. Some people are on Snapchat. But everybody has an email address. So if you want to communicate with all those people, whether they check it once a week or once a day, that doesn't matter. But if you could only get one piece of information from the most amount of people on the internet, what should it be? Should be an email address. My grandmother has an email address. Just the other day, she sent me, actually I saw her in person at my sister's wedding, and she's on my email newsletter list because she's got an email address. And she says, Jeff, I have a request for you. I said, okay, Grandma. She said, when you send me a letter and you say, hi, friend, because I send out these email newsletters to, hundreds of thousands of people, and it says, hi, friend. And she goes, I don't like that. I'm not your friend. I'm your grandma. So please change that to hi, grandma. I go, okay, grandma. So one of these days I'll send something out, if you're on my email newsletter list, it'll say hi, grandma, just for her. It is the most universal way to communicate with people. You've got to get people's email addresses. My grandma has one. Your grandma probably has one. We all have emails. The way that you got here today was you got an email that said, hey, come join us for this webinar. I'm going to be very clear about this. If you don't have an email list, you don't have an audience. So how do we build them? Well, it's real simple. First, you got to give something away for free. What is that something? Well, it could be a free article series, a chapter of your book. It could be a PDF download. The thing that we gave you at the very beginning, the beginner's guide to building an audience, that's a lead magnet. It's a PDF download. It's something that I have given away for a while now to my audience in exchange, typically for their email address. Hey, sign up for this. Give me your email. I'll start sending you information. And you get this free resource. It's an exchange. And in order for this to feel like a fair exchange, you've got to give more than you get, right? So if you give somebody something and they go, I gave you my email address and that's valuable to me. Like we don't want our inboxes invaded with a bunch of spam. So when you ask for somebody's email address, give them something generous. Make it generous and also interesting so that people share it. Once you've done that, you need to send something new to that audience every single week. What can you send them? Anything, really. A video, a newsletter, a blog post. It doesn't much matter what it is, as much as it needs to be valuable. It needs to be something that you can do consistently and frequently, once a week, without fail. Do that for 60 days before you try to increase the frequency. Doing it every other week or once a month or once a quarter, then you're forgettable. Doing it once a week, you're going to stay top of mind without being annoying. So send them one weekly newsletter a week before you try to increase frequency from there. The third thing that you need to do in order to build a tribe through email is you got to ask people to share your stuff. So you could be writing a blog post, and then you could be asking people in your newsletter to click to tweet, to share your stuff by using this little tool right here, click-to-tweet.com. What is this? If you are writing a newsletter and you say, you're writing it to your friends who are all dog sweater knitters, and you're saying, the best dog sweater is the one that you knit yourself, which is like a really pithy saying, and you want people to tweet that. You want your friends, your email newsletter subscribers to share this on Twitter. You could go to click-to-tweet.com. You could write that in there, and then you would put that link in your newsletter. They would click it. This is a free tool, by the way. They would click it, and then they would share it, and they would automatically share your quote or your link to your blog or anything you want them to share. They're sharing it for you for free. This is a powerful way to grow your tribe. One of our students did this. He had stagnated for years. He had a blog. He had stagnated at 500 email subscribers, which isn't bad, but he couldn't grow past that. A lot of those email addresses were dead. And he says, I want to revitalize my blog. How do I do this? And we walked him through this process. He created an ebook, a 20,000 word ebook. It was incredibly generous. And he gave it away for free for 30 days. And everybody that he gave it away to, he asked them to share it. He had 500 stagnant email addresses from a 5-year-old blog. And he wrote the ebook. He sent it out to his audience, and he asked them to share, just using this little tool right here, click-to-tweet.com. And in 24 hours, his email list of 500 people doubled to 1,000 people. And by the end of the 30 days, he had nearly 13,000 email subscribers. Today, he has over 50,000 email subscribers, and he has a $500,000 business. It all began with creating something that was generous and interesting and asking the tribe to share. You can also write articles and ask other bloggers to link to them and share them on social media and in their own newsletters. And as you're writing emails to your audience, whether it's 5 people, 10, 20, whatever, if they like it, ask them to forward it to a friend. You want your tribe sharing. This is how it grows. And as you do all that stuff, you begin to build this thing called a tribe. Now, what is that exactly? I quantify it as 1,000 email subscribers. Kevin Kelly says, if you have 1,000 true fans, there is no reason why you should ever go hungry as an artist or a musician or a writer or creative. If you have 1,000 people paying attention to you, you can monetize that and turn that into a full-time living if you want. But it's not just about having people pay attention to you for the sake of me, me, me. In fact, it's not that at all. Sometimes people say, oh, it's not what you know, it's who you know. I don't agree with that. It's not who you know, it's who you help. It's really about being helpful, whether that means writing stories. As one guy recently talked to, he's a fiction writer, and every week he sends out a new short story only to his email subscribers, and every day that email list grows by 20 people. That's 140 new readers a week. He's doing great. What is he doing? He's taking his work and he's sharing it with his audience. He's being generous and interesting, and then they're therefore sharing it with people that they know. It's not who you know, it's who you help, and we all have resources, tools that we can use to help other people. So how does this work? Amateurs write for themselves, professionals serve their tribes. So here are 2 key takeaways. Do you have a website? And we get kind of confused by the semantics of this. A blog is a website, and a website needs to be a blog. I want you to have one place where you live online, not 5, not 20, one place where you're posting content, getting people to sign up for your email newsletter list so that you can start growing your tribe. So you need a self-hosted website. I'm a big fan of WordPress. I'll give you a link for how to set that up because that can be kind of technical, totally free for walk you through that process. If you do a self-hosted blog, it's typically like $5 a month. I've got a link for you to sign up for $3 a month. And you need an email service provider, not Gmail, not Outlook or mail. These are ways to communicate one-to-one with people. You need an email marketing tool, and I'm a big fan of a tool called ConvertKit. I'm going to give you links in just a second for both of these. If you don't have a blog or you don't have an email list, you're going to leave with the resources that you need to get those started today. Okay, so write these down. Sandy, if you want to go ahead and put these in the chat too, that would be helpful. goinswriter.com/launch-blog. That's a walkthrough tutorial that will get you started blogging, and it talks about the different ways to do that. There's a I don't know 8-minute tutorial on how to get set up with your own self-hosted blog, which is a little bit technical, and I walk you through how to do that. That's a free resource for you on how to start a blog. Second, if you want to get started with an email marketing service, sign up for ConvertKit, goinswriter.com/ConvertKit. You can learn more about those tools. Okay, guys, we're 75% of the way there. We're almost done. We're getting the part where, most people are going, well, how does this work? How do I actually make money? The 4th key that you need is product. You've got to have something to sell. And in order to illustrate this, I want to share with you how I started the presentation, which was my story of how I actually made that $150,000 in 6 months. By the way, I've seen students do better than this. So this is my experience. This is what success looked like for me. It may look very different for you in terms of what you want to achieve, but I was very, very motivated at this time to make enough money so that I could quit my job and my wife could also quit her job, and we would have enough savings that we would feel secure. My wife was pregnant. I was trying to be a writer, and she was trying to quit her job, and we did all of this in less than a year, really. And it was an incredible year. I didn't expect all this stuff to happen, but looking back, I realized this is the process. This is how it works. So here's how I did it. First of all, I did everything that I just shared with you. I got my email list up to 1,000 people, and I ran into this online marketing expert. It took me about 6 months to get 1,000 email subscribers, and by the end of the first year, I had almost 10,000. And around this time, I was making no money, and I was giving all my best work away for free. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to make any money off of this. I've given all my stuff away. And I met this business coach, this internet business leader, and I said, hey, how do I monetize my blog? And she says, how many email subscribers do you have? And I told her, and she goes, oh, you have a 6-figure business. I said, no, it's like a 2-figure business. I think I made like $11 last year on this. How do I make money off of this? I really need to do this. My wife doesn't want to work anymore. She wants to be a mom. I work for a nonprofit. I'm not making much money. I've never really been good at any of this stuff. How do I do this? She says, here's what you do. And she told me to do 3 things. I'm going to share those things with you. First thing, identify your expertise. Figure out what it is that you have that you're an expert at that 10,000 other people in the world aren't experts at. It's a big world. There's something that you know, some idea that you have, some story that you want to share that people need to hear. And the best way to think about it is like this. Derek Sivers says, what's obvious to you is amazing to others. What's something that's obvious to you? Go back to those 5 friends who you sent a text to, or you're going to email tonight, and see what they say. Say, hey, is there something that is obvious to me that I'm naturally good at that may like is kind of amazing to other people, or it may not be obvious to other people? You will be surprised by how many people who love you will affirm you and say, yes, you're really good at knitting, or encouraging people, or just figuring things out. I love that about you. You're so great at technology. So what's obvious to you? It starts there with the expertise. Second, ask your audience. And if you don't have an audience, like I said, when we get to this point, we've got to have 1,000 email subscribers. So we're kind of getting ahead of the process, but I want to give you the whole process. So if you don't have 1,000 email subscribers, then this is stuff you're going to do later. But for now, who is your audience? Well, go to those 5 people. You all said you had 5 people that you could talk to. So go ask them these questions. Again, you don't want to try to guess what people want. Just ask them. So many people go, I'm going to write a book, or I'm going to create a product, or I'm going to do this, and they never take the time to find out what would actually be helpful to the people that they already know. So what should you do? Do a survey. What is a survey? Survey is just a fancy word for send people an email and ask them some questions. Question 1, how can I better help you? Question 2, if I created something for sale that helps you do whatever thing you just told me, would you buy it? Yes or no? It's okay to say no. Just tell me yes or no. Lastly, how much would you pay? Recently did this with a coaching client and had really struggled for years. She's a health coach. She's trying to write a book. And she said, I want to go write a book. I said, why don't you test the idea first and see if you can get 5 people to pay you money for it before you go write it. And she's like, well, how would I do that? Just send 5 people these questions. She did that and they responded. And she said, they said, we want you to write a book on how to be healthy. And she said, okay, what would you pay? They said $20. She said, okay, give me $20 and I'll write the book for you. 2 people said yes. Then she wrote the book in 30 days and she launched it. She made over $800 in a week. And this just happened recently, and on it's going. It's continuing to go. Powerful stuff to just ask a simple question. So what's the last step? Well, once you've asked the question, you've gotten the feedback, you go, okay, people want this thing from me. Give them what they want. And this is where I think we worry about like being salesy or something. You don't have to make people pay you, but you do have to let them. Okay. So when I did this, I surveyed an audience, my audience. I got about 1,000 people to respond, and they said, hey, we want a book from you about blogging. We'll pay you $5 for it. And I was like, okay, cool. Here are 2 books on blogging for $2.99 because I was so afraid of like trying to oversell it, right? And in 2 days, 500 people bought those little ebooks, and I made $1,500, which was a paycheck. I was making about $30,000 a year at the time, and this was life-changing money. It blew me away. And when it came time to sell the thing, it wasn't like I had to force it down their throats. It was like, well, you said you wanted this, so I built it. It took me a few weeks to do it, and I sold it. I made a few $1,000s off of it. I didn't like it very much, so I took it down. I rewrote that book. I turned it into a book called You Are a Writer. That book sold really well. Sold about 10,000 copies. I made about $50,000 off of it in the first few months. It became a course because people read the book and said, we want to learn more. Then I launched a traditionally published book around that same time about a very different topic, just about being helpful to people and some of the nonprofit work that I was doing. And by the end of that year, I'd made over $150,000. And our lives were changed forever. And on it's gone since then. And every step of the way, anytime I create a course, I write a new book, I go to my audience and I say, how are you struggling with this? I'm coming out with a book soon. And before I started writing it, I just went to my audience and I said, how can I help you? Or I want to write a book about X. what do you want to know about that? Or where are you struggling? What are you reading about this right now? It's just about getting a pulse on how you can help people and then going, okay, oh wow, lots of people are struggling with this, and that's kind of obvious to me, or this thing is really easy for me, and I can share this with this audience in a way that's going to help them. So here's the final question. Do you have an expertise worth sharing? Now, an expertise is not something that you're better than everybody in the world at. It's something that you could find probably 10,000 people on the planet Earth. Guys, there's 7 billion people in the world. It's a big world. Are there 10,000 people who don't know something that you know, who can't do something that you can do, who have not heard an idea or a message that you have to share with them? Yes or no? That's what it means to be an expert today. It's just about finding a group of people. 10,000 people is a tribe. That's plenty of people who need what you have to offer. Do you believe that you have that? Yes or no? Go ahead and put it in the chat. And while you're doing that, I'll share one quick story, and then Kyle, you can share with me what people are saying there. At the end of this year, that year that I was describing several years ago, it was 2012. When my second book was coming out, this was a traditionally published book. It was a big deal to me. It was, a source of pride and honor. My wife gave me this card, and this was a long year full of a lot of work. We had become parents. My wife was pregnant for half of that year. Our son was colicky, wasn't sleeping, and I was moonlighting, doing this writing thing on the side. It was hard. Wasn't unbearable, but it wasn't easy. And we'd done the work, and we'd finally seen the rewards. And she gave me this card that said, "It was never a question of if, but always a matter of when." And I cried. I mean, I love that. I mean, it was so powerful to know that she had been believing in me this whole time. And so I want to make that same promise to you. If you've got dreams, maybe it's just making a side income or buying a little bit of flexibility or paying off some debt. Maybe it's just finally getting this story out in the world, or you just feel like you've got to do this. If you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. I want to encourage you. It's not a question of if, but a matter of when. As long as you're willing to do the work. I've given you the whole process here. You said I'm in, and so now you have to be willing to do the work. I think that begins with believing that you have something to share. Call it expertise, call it whatever you want, but it's something to share that if you don't do it, nobody will. Cal, what are people saying? Do they feel like they have something like that to share?
Yeah, Jeff, answers are still coming in, but it looks good.
Yeah, cool. Well, if you don't feel that way, that's okay.
Guest 5840 says, yes, 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 I do. I'm starting to wonder what you have to share, Guest 5840. It sounds like you're excited about it.
I love that. I didn't feel that way. And I just kind of had to put myself out there. And as I did, I realized that I had something that was obvious to me that was amazing to others. So if you're not quite sure, that's okay. But I want to impress upon you, there's a reason that you're here. It's because there's an itch that maybe you haven't quite figured out how to scratch. Maybe that's, I want to make some money doing this, or I want to sell some books, or I just want to finish this book that I'm working on. The way to do that is to begin sharing your work with the world through a blog and an email list. I'm a big fan of this. I've shared this whole process with you. Now, the final takeaway is it's up to you to trust the process, do the work, and you're going to see the results. I haven't held anything back. This is the whole process. This is everything that I did. Obviously, for time's sake, it was compressed. Even sharing all that information, I kind of had to rush through it. And so at this point, what is the next step? Well, you can either take all this information and go try to apply it yourself, and that's totally great. I did that. I kind of stumbled through it for years before I realized, gosh, I'm stuck. I need to reach out to somebody. I need help. And even then, it wasn't a perfectly guided process. I gladly would have paid money for a coach or somebody to just say, here's the next thing that you need to do. That didn't exist for me, which is why I created this course, Intentional Blog. I mentioned at the very beginning, I was going to share with you an offer to join one of our courses at an unbeatable rate. So I'm going to share that with you briefly. Then we're going to move to Q&A and then do the giveaway. So what is Intentional Blog? But before I share that with you, here's just a couple of things that some past students have been saying. Joe Bunting, who is the author of a very successful online writing blog, The Right Practice, he said this. He took the class and he said, I've been blogging for 4 years, and this made me rethink everything I thought I knew about the subject. This course is good for beginners, but it's great for people who know what they're doing as well. It will take you to the next level. Sheila says, this course takes you by the nervous hand and leads you through all the racket about platform and format and numbers to a place where you remember why you wanted to write a blog in the first place. And when you leave, you feel better equipped to do so than you'd ever dreamed you might be. Lastly, Andrew says this, short and sweet: intentional blog is ideation central. Invaluable and practical lessons. Do it. Thanks, Andrew. Okay, so what do you get if you do this course? If you do this course, you actually do the work. You've got to do the work. That's the only caveat. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to clarify your message. You're going to build a brand around that message. Then you're going to build a blog. You're going to get all the bells and whistles rolling on that. What do I put on my about page? How do I write? When do I write? What is a blog post? How do I even structure a blog post so that people will read and comment and share on it? And you're going to get your first 1,000 readers so that you can be ready to start making money. The hardest part of this is not figuring out what product to sell. It's not figuring out, what should I do when I have, 10,000 readers? The hardest part is getting the readers in the first place. And this is what Intentional Blog helps you do in a very simple, easy to follow format. So what do you actually get? Well, when you join, you get lifetime access to the course, which is comprised of 4 modules. Module 1 is getting the right mindset. We talk about setting goals and what it takes to actually succeed at this. I think success in the mind. Module 2 is building your brand. This is where we talk about the platform personalities and how you can take all that stuff and apply it to creating a very clear promise to your readers. Module 3 is about expanding your reach. So we're going to talk about blogging. This is nuts and bolts stuff, guys. I'll tell you what to put on your about page. I'll tell you what the first 5 blog posts you should write are. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about SEO and how you can start getting your content to show up high, on Google searches. And then lastly, in Module 4, we're going to talk about finding readers, guest posting, putting your content in other blogs, getting links to your blog, how to use social media. We didn't talk about that here. We didn't have time. Getting to those 1,000 readers so that you can have something ready to sell them. So obviously the question that you're asking is, how much is it? I totally get that. Just to be clear, when I started out, I used to do a lot of coaching. And I simply don't have time to do it. And one of the reasons I teach online courses is because I can take the same information that I would give in a coaching session one-to-one, and I can share it with 100 people or 1,000 people all at once, and they can get the same results. It just allows me to help more people. And honestly, I can charge less doing it and help more people. And so it's a win-win. So, just to give you an idea of what my time is typically worth, last time I did a speaking gig for 45 minutes, they paid me $15,000 just to share one talk like I'm doing with you here right now. The last time I did a one-on-one coaching session for one day, it was $5,000. And the last time I launched an online course, it costs $1,000, sometimes $2,000. You're not going to have to pay any of that. All you have to pay is a one-time fee today of $297. So I just want to ask you a quick question. Give me some feedback because I pride myself on trying to offer resources for writers and bloggers and creatives and people who want to share their message with the world at an affordable rate. So if this course, if all it did for you was help you do all the things that I talked about, clarify your message, build a blog, figure out all the things that you haven't figured out on your own, and get to 1,000 readers so that you could start selling something to that audience and making money off of your writing, whether that's a side income or a full-time income, would it be worth it? Yes or no? I want you to hold that thought because today only we're going to offer an additional $100 off. In fact, we're not going to just offer that on the Intentional Blog Starter course, which is the first package. We're going to share a link with you in just a second where you can check all this stuff out, by the way. We're going to do it off of the other 2 packages as well. So if you sign up today, you get the whole blogging course for $197. But you also get $100 off of the second tier package, which is the blog and writing course. So you get Intentional Blog, plus you get lots of help with your writing where I walk you through the step-by-step process I take to create epic content for my blog posts and articles and even for my books. You can get that. I really think that's probably the best deal. It's the most popular option for a lot of people. If you need some help with your writing and also, the blog side of things, this is a great investment and you get $100 off of that today. Or there's a third option where you can get all 2 of those previous things plus a 10-step video course on how to write a best-selling book, which is a brand new resource that we're currently not really offering anywhere else. Or, you can just get started with the basic package of $197. That's all you have to pay today. Plus, you get $300 in bonuses. Real quick, what are those? First, you get WordPress 101. This is for any of the packages that you buy, which is a step-by-step video tutorial on how to use WordPress, which is my preferred blogging tool. That's a $190 resource that we put in Intentional Blog at any of these levels for you for free, no extra cost. You also get private access to the Intentional Blog Facebook group where you can ask questions of me, my team. We're in there every day. There's also tons of other bloggers. It's a very active community, asking questions, helping each other, just kind of working in the trenches together. And then lastly, you get a digital copy of my book, You Are a Writer, So Start Acting Like One, which is the story of this journey and has been very helpful resource. It's one of my most popular books ever. You get that for free, just for joining the course. All of that for only $197. So why do we do this? Like, why do we say, hey, you've got to get this today in order to get all this stuff? That's a great question. And it's not because I'm trying to pressure you in anything. It's because I love this quote by Seth. I believe that soon is not as good as now. For a long time, I was saying, hey, I'm gonna get in better shape someday. I'm gonna work out someday. I'm gonna start running someday. And a friend of mine challenged me on that. He goes, hey, do you want to see results in your health now? Or do you want to see them someday? Like Sunday, Friday. I was like, I want to see them now. He says, then why are you delaying the work till someday if you want to see the results now? So soon isn't as good as now. So we just want to make this a no-brainer for you. I know that when I am struggling to make a decision, sometimes I just need a reason to do it now versus later. So because I believe in that, I believe that this is great for a lot of you, I'm going to throw in a couple of extra bonuses just for those of you who take action today in the next 15 minutes during the Q&A, which we're going to start in just a second, so that if you sign up for any of the Intentional Blog courses, your first is Guest Posting 101. This is a video course that I teach. It's a mini course, just a short, actionable video tutorial on how to write and pitch a guest post for A-list bloggers, including how I did this with people like Michael Hyatt, Leo Babauta, Copy Blogger. This is how I got my first 10,000 subscribers. I teach you exactly how to do it in this course so you can replicate that success. Fast Action Bonus 2 is another mini video course called Viral 101, where I take my 2 most popular blog posts that both went viral, but in very different ways. And I teach you how to do that, how this was intentional, and how to break that down and intentionally apply it to your own writing so that you can achieve similar success. Okay, so I know that's a lot of information. We're going to get to Q&A. Just to recap, here's the deal. You buy today, you get lifetime access to the course, you get those 2 bonus courses I mentioned, plus $300 in bonuses, and you save $100 off of any of those packages. So that's an $800 value, which is like double the cost of even the highest level of the package, the highest package. So if you get any of those offers, you're getting a great deal, and for as little as $197. Okay, so that's Intentional Blog. We're going to go ahead and throw up that link in just a second. Kyle's going to put that in the chat. Before we do that, I just want to be honest with you real quick. If you're missing your goals, if you're not getting to where you want to go, it's probably because of one of 3 reasons. 1, you just don't know what you don't know. You don't know the process. You need some more information. Or 2, you know it, but you just haven't taken action. Or maybe 3, you took action, but at some point you got stuck and you can't move forward. Wherever you're at in the process, I believe that Intentional Blog is the best investment for you. In fact, I believe in this so much that I'm going to offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. So that means you take the course for 30 days. It's a 4-module course. Takes about 4 weeks to go through if you watch 1 5-minute video every day and you do the work. By the way, the work is just like, hey, go write your about page. So you watch a video for 5 minutes, then you go do it. I mean, you could do this 30 minutes a day, no problem. And if you don't see the results, I'll give you all your money back. No questions asked. All I'm going to say is, hey, did you do the work? And you go, yep, I did the work. Great. Okay, no problem. Here's the money back. So you don't take any risk. No matter what I want to emphasize here is if you've been waiting for somebody to come pick you, you need to stop doing that. You have to pick yourself. And the way that writers turn pro, the way that bloggers and speakers build a platform and get the attention that their messages deserve, is typically through what I'm describing here. They build a blog, they hone their message, they build a brand around a certain idea, a worldview, and then they start attracting attention to that, building an email list and getting to 1,000 subscribers, and then on it goes. I created an intentional blog because there was no other online course out there that did that that comprehensively at this level for people, many of which are just starting out or kind of at the intermediate level. And I think it's an unbeatable price. You could tell me if I'm thinking crazy, but let's go ahead and put that link in the chat. We'll put 15 minutes on the clock to do Q&A, and I'm gonna try to answer your questions as thoroughly and succinctly as possible. Kyle, go ahead and do that. I'm gonna turn off my slides, and I'll turn my video back on so you guys can see my lovely face.
All right, everybody. Sandy's been posting that in the chat. I appreciate that. I'd love for you to click that link. Let me know if it's working. If it's not, I want to make sure we give you everything we need. So click that link Sandy just posted. Let me know if everything's working. So we're going to do a few questions. I have some saved from earlier in the webinar, and if you have any additional questions, please ask them in the chat, and we are going to be answering them now. Jeff, you ready to go?
Yeah, I am. Let me. I'm having trouble with my camera.
What if I turn my camera on and I'll mouth the word watermelon? And
yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead and turn your camera on. That's fine. Let me. Yeah, weird.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah,
while you're figuring that out, why don't you answer the first question?
Okay.
Okay. Question number 1. Dan Taylor said, should an author get a literary agent, or when should an author get a literary agent?
Yes. Well, when should an author get a literary agent? An author should get a literary agent if you want to publish a book with a traditional publisher. I can't remember the numbers, but it's like 80% of agented authors with agents get higher advances, the amount of money that a publisher pays you to write a book, than unagented authors. So, you know, I actually got an offer from a publisher without an agent, and then I went to an agent who was a friend of mine. I said, hey, I have this offer. Should I take it? Should I not? And he goes, here's the deal. Let me represent you, and if I can get you more money, then I basically pay for myself. And if not, I'll do the deal for free, because agents take about 15% of your advance and royalties. So yeah, and so he did the deal, and he got me more money, and he paid for himself, and I never looked back. So if you're gonna work with a traditional publisher, I highly recommend that you work with an agent.
Very cool. Good answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Rose asked, how important is it for you to have your blog's design completed before you start posting? Will it matter if you change things in your design as you go along?
So you're always going to be changing things. Michael Hyatt calls this perpetual beta. So just launch your blog. People wait 6 months to launch their blog. No, just put it out there, start writing on it, have one post ready to go, and you're good. You will change things all the time. I change something on my blog almost daily.
Sorry, I didn't realize that was the end of your sentence. Very good. All right.
Let's do one more question, and then let's do the giveaway. Guys, by the way, the giveaway is we're going to pick one lucky commenter who just asked a good question. I don't know how you're going to do this, Kyle. Kyle's going to pick one person, and we're going to give away a 30-minute one-on-one coaching call with me. And while Kyle's doing that, I'll try to refresh my browser, see if that puts the video back on. So let's do one more question, and then Kyle, you're gonna pick the winner. So we'll answer a bunch of questions after that, guys. But I want to give you an opportunity to ask a question while I'm answering this next question, so that then Kyle will pick one person for that coaching call.
Yeah, you bet. And Rick52 said, if I'm a Tribe Writers member, should I join Intentional Blog? Rick, if you're a Tribe Writers member, you actually have Intentional Blog. It's a part of that membership, so you don't need this. You already have it, okay? All right, next question. Let's see. Ghost Written is the name he asked this under. He said, how important is it to be on Twitter? Or is Facebook and Instagram enough, or LinkedIn? Jeff, what do you think? For somebody who's wanting to use social networks, what do you recommend, and how would they prioritize their time?
Twitter's fine. The reason I didn't talk about social media here is because it's not essential. It isn't. What you need is you need a blog, you need an email list, and you need content. You need to create content once a week. And that's it. And everything else, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, these supplement the core platform. Chris Brogan, I think, calls these outposts, and he thinks of your platform as like home base. And so the outpost is supposed to represent the platform and basically point people back to the home base. So Twitter's fine. I'll give you some numbers to give you an idea of how much you should be focusing on your email list versus how much you should be focusing on social media. So I launched The Art of Work, a book that came out in 2015. It became an instant national bestseller, sold 50,000 books in the first year. 15,000 of those were pre-orders. To be precise, it was about 15,500, meaning people were buying the book before it came out in anticipation of the book coming out. So by the end of the first week, we had sold 15,500 books. Now, I tracked a lot of this. And now I did Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I blogged a lot. I spoke at live events. And we tracked, my team and I, a lot of the performance of these different marketing strategies. And we sold 15,500. 500 books were sold through Facebook and Twitter ads. They were sold through social media, a lot of which were through Facebook. Twitter did very poorly. 500 books, which is good. Now, 15,000, how were those sold? Through my email list and other people's email lists. I would ask friends, hey, I have a book coming out. Do you mind telling your email subscribers about it? So if you want to sell 500 books, then just use social media. If you want to sell 15,000 books, build an email list. I like Twitter. It's a great place to talk to people, float ideas, get feedback. I don't use it as a serious place to grow my platform because the engagement these days just isn't that great. You're muted, Kyle. You're still muted, Kyle.
Huh, I clicked it. Didn't work the first time. Or maybe I wasn't muted and I muted myself. Who knows? All right, Jeff, thank you very much. Do you want to tell everybody what we're going to do?
Yeah, so you're going to pick a random winner, and they're going to get a free 30-minute coaching call with me. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to refresh this and hope my video comes right back. So
Sure.
Go ahead and do that, and I'll just refresh this real quick.
Yeah, you bet. We're going to give a coaching call to Grace Rankin. She's been active in the chat, asking some great questions that we haven't had time to get to yet, and she's going to be our big winner. So Grace, if you'll email jeff@goinswriter.com, then we will get you set up, okay?
Good deal. Awesome, Grace.
All right.
I am.
Very cool. Jeff, we do have a couple questions like Grace's that we haven't had a chance to get to.
Yep.
Do you care if we do a couple more of those?
Let's keep going.
Awesome. Okay. Will Penny said, how does one get started with drawing people in with your free offer? Like, how do you get eyeballs onto your free offer in order to get them considering the email list in the first place? So where do you get the traffic?
Guest posting, I think, is the best place to get traffic to your blog is by, and this is another thing that we didn't talk a lot about in this presentation. It's in the intentional blog course. There's also that guest posting 101 bonus that you get if you sign up today. I've written some blog posts about this as well. If you Google guest posting, you should be able to find those. But I'm a big fan, even today, of guest posting. I had a client who did this recently, and he guest posted on one site for an entire year, medium.com, which I'm a big fan of. Like, put your content on Medium, even if it's just repurposing existing blog posts. He did this for a year. At the end of the year, he had 100,000 email subscribers. How did he do this? His name is Ben Harney. He wrote lots of great articles. And at the end of each article, he said, hey, if you like this, go get my free ebook here. And it was just a link to his website with a sign-up form saying, get this free ebook. That's why I say all you need is a website and an email list, and then you need content. And you can put that content on your blog. You can put it elsewhere. You're driving traffic to your website, someplace that you own, where then you can capture that attention with an email list, like Aweber, Infusionsoft, ConvertKit, which I'm a big fan of, MailChimp, any of these, an email marketing service. And he grew it to 100,000 people in a year. Guest posting, I'm a big fan of it.
Good grief. Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. All right. Hey, Jeff, we have some questions coming in about intentional blog. Will you just really quickly repeat what this is and why people have, how long people have to get what you're offering?
Yes. Sorry about the video. Here, let's do this. Yeah. Kyle, I want you to answer that question real quick. I'm gonna
Yeah, you bet, guys.
reload real quick.
Yeah, so Intentional Blog, like Jeff has said, is a course that is perfect for you if, we talked about 3 types of people at the beginning of this: people who think they're a writer and want to find out, people who have a book that they're interested in writing, or people who have already written a book and they want to grow an audience around it. And that's what this is designed to help you do. It's designed to make growing an audience through blogging really simple. We have a $100 discount for everybody who joins while we're on the webinar. That's something that goes away once this is over. And again, there's 3 different options. You can join for as little as $197. There's a 3 payment option there where it's like $79, I think, to get started. And you have a 30-day money-back guarantee where if for any reason you try this and realize that it wasn't a good fit, then let us know and we'll give you your money back. But this is something that's going to go away in about 2 or 3 minutes when we finish Q&A. So we want to give you a couple more minutes to do that, but I don't want there to be any surprises when this does go away.
Right. Hey, I'm gonna close one window and open another window.
Okay.
Can you stop the broadcast on your end? I don't want you to, but do you see that button?
Can I stop the broadcast? I see a button that says live. I don't think I have the option to stop the broadcast.
I'm just nervous that if I close this, it's gonna end everything.
I can just turn mine off if you want to just go no video.
I don't know. I keep clicking it and it's just not turning on. Sorry guys, and I'm scared to open another window and try again, and it won't let me refresh. Let's just keep going. I don't want. I'm cool if you guys are cool. I know you'd love to see my lovely face. I don't know what's going on. Technology.
We have a picture of you.
Yes. Okay. All right. Let's do. I've got 5 more minutes if we want.
All right. Yeah, let's do it. Awesome. Okay. First, this is kind of more of a shout out, but Christina said, I used Facebook to start building an email list that gives people an exclusive first look at my content in exchange for their feedback. It was something I learned from the things in these videos, and it's worked so far. I'm still building, but I started out with nothing, and I'm growing fast. Congratulations, Christina. That's really cool.
That's cool.
We appreciate you sharing that with us. Angie said, is there a way to take a total beginner and help them become a blogger? Total beginner. What would you say to somebody who feels maybe not very tech savvy, or just like they have no clue what's going on?
Repeat the question. I want to make sure I understand it.
Yeah, Angie said, what would you tell someone who's just a total beginner? Is this within reach? What are some of the challenges they're going to need to overcome? But what would you say to somebody who just feels like, gosh, this seems huge?
I mean, I would say sign up for Intentional Blog. I mean, I don't want to be too on the nose about it, but if you're struggling with something and you don't know what to do, then invest in a coach, a course, something where somebody can guide you through the process, where you don't have to think. One of the reasons why I recently joined a strength training class is I wanted to get stronger. I wanted to get in better shape. And I just knew me. I knew what motivated me and what didn't motivate me. And what motivated me was a little bit of social pressure to get up at a certain time when I didn't have anything else going on, to show up and then not have to think about anything and just be told what to do. Jeff, lift this many times, do this, do that. Okay, great. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to read about it. I don't have to study or research. I don't have to get lost in the analysis paralysis that we find ourselves in. I was just talking to one of our students recently, today actually, and he said, look, I'm in this course and that course and doing this thing. And I said, just pick one. Like, pick one path and do it. And he said, well, what should I do? I said, do you have a blog? No, start the blog. And he was actually in Intentional Blog. And I said, just go through that process. Are there other people who have good ideas out there too? Sure, you bet. Yeah, totally. Does that matter right now? No, what matters is you have a goal and you're not meeting your goal. So if you're just starting out, you're just a beginner, I want to be very clear. You need to start a blog. Okay, once you've done that, you need to get an email list. I've given you links for how to do this. If you need help setting this up, if you need step-by-step technical walkthroughs of this, tutorials, that's all in Intentional Blog. That's why we put all that stuff in that course. If you need to know what to do on your About page and what to write in your blog post and how long a blog post should be and where your email sign-up form should be, that's all in the course. I'm a big fan of this, and this is why I created this. There were people who are just starting out or who had gotten to that point where they didn't have 1,000 subscribers yet. They had less than 500 subscribers. They weren't making any money off of their writing, and they needed to know exactly what they needed to do to take the next step. So what should you do? You should take a course like this, or you should find somebody who can just give you the next step in the process. I've tried to make Intentional Blog that. Are there other resources out there like this? Yeah, maybe. Although to be clear, like I created this because I couldn't find anything less than $500 that helped you do this. And a lot of them were, $800, $900, sometimes $1,000. So I think Intentional Blog would be a great investment for you. But like the point is, find a guide, find a process where you just get the next thing to do, not the next 7 things to do. You just need to know the next step and you need to take it.
Very good. Cool. Jeff, guest 2348 asks, what do you think about blogging your book like Nina Amir suggests?
I think that's a bad idea. Sorry to be blunt, but I don't think books don't read like blogs. So is it good to get some of your best ideas out and then take those and edit those and try to turn them, into, like use excerpts from your blog and put them in your book? You bet. I do that with every book. I get through writing, I'm halfway through a book and it's just, it's just not working. And, or I get stuck, or I go, I've got this idea. What should I do with it? And then I realize I've already blogged about this. And I just go take that content and rewrite it in the context of a book. Why do I think this is a bad idea? Because a blog post is an article. It is a self-contained idea. Books are not collections of articles, typically, unless it's like an essay collection. Books are one idea with an arc, with a theme, and spread out over the course of 150 to 250 or 300 pages. And blogging a book doesn't necessarily accomplish that. I think blogging is great, but I think you should write for an online audience. You should write for whatever audience you have. And people who read blogs differently, typically, than the way they read books. When I read a book, I sit down. It's an immersive experience. When I read a blog post, I'm scanning. So because that format and context is different, the writing style has to be different, and therefore the writing content has to be different.
Good point. Will Penny asked, does Intentional Blog come with some kind of customer support?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sandy is in our chat right now, and she's our customer support ninja. She's there, and she's awesome. And if there's a question that she can't answer, or she needs help, or somebody's getting stuck, our whole team, you, me, Kyle, we all jump in on that and try to help whenever people are getting stuck. But I mean, she'll definitely take care of you and walk you through that process. And we want to make sure we don't just, like, we had a meeting about this not too long ago as a team. We're not just trying to sell courses. We're trying to help people. And the only way that we can help people is by connecting with them. I mentioned several times, hey, I just talked to so-and-so. We as a community and as a team make ourselves available to the people that we're trying to help, the students in our course. I shared with you success stories of people on the webinar who've taken the course and have succeeded. And it's because like we have a vested interest in helping you succeed. We're not trying to trick you into getting something. We're trying to help you have a breakthrough. Again, just to be clear, we're going to wrap up in a couple of minutes. All those bonuses, the $100 off, all that stuff that we talked about, the 2 webinar bonuses, the discount on any of the Intentional Blog packages, all that goes away once this thing is over. That's not like some sort of false sense of scarcity. If you go to intentionalblog.com, you're going to see that this is a $297 course. And so this really is a special deal for you. And we want to make sure that if you're kind of on the fence, that you don't miss out on that. So we'll answer a couple more questions, but then we're going to call it.
Good. All right. I'm going to do Mindy's questions first. Like Jeff just said, we're wrapping up. If there's a question that you have that hasn't been answered, please put it back at the bottom of the chat for me so I can see it. And again, we've got a couple more minutes for you to join and get the discount and all these bonuses. All right. Mindy said, when you're evaluating what you want your goal to be and what success is for you, is there a book you recommend to bring you clarity? And then she said, to clarify the question, there are many ways to influence others, and creating a platform with writing may be the road, but there's so many ways to discovering your road, and that's where I'm at.
Is there a book that I recommend for this, is what she's asking.
Yeah, how do you get clarity about what you want to do?
Big picture, I mean, there's a couple of books that I keep returning to. I mean, they're not necessarily about blogging, but they're about life. I love Parker Palmer. He has a great book called Let Your Life Speak. It's about calling and purpose, and not just being good at something or successful at something, but learning how to succeed at the right thing. There's this Thomas Merton quote that says, many of us will climb a ladder in life only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. And this book is about that. It's about, how do I make sure that I'm not leaning against the wrong wall? I love that book. I'm also a sucker for the Paulo Coelho book, The Alchemist, just because it's a very simple fable about, again, getting what you want in life. So those are two books that I recommend. I don't know if that's what you were looking for, but I love both those books, The Alchemist and Let Your Life Speak.
Cool. And I want to recommend Jeff's book, The Art of Work. I think that's another one that would be a great fit for you, Mindy. You should consider checking that out. All right, Jeff, guest 587 says, I'm a fiction author and I want to start a blog to help other authors who are just starting to write or thinking about writing fiction. Should I split my platform and have 2 blogs, or is it better to join both into one? Thank you in advance.
One blog. I mean, I could go into a long explanation about it, but I said this in the presentation. I'll say it again. You need one blog.
Very good. All right, cool. All right, guys, if there are any more questions, I'm not seeing them. It looks like we have gotten through them. So thank you so much, Jeff. Any last words for us?
No, just that this is your last chance to sign up for Intentional Blog at this $100 discount. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you are on the fence, do it. You're not going to regret it. You can log in and go, oh, this isn't for me. Email Sandy, say, hey, this isn't what I thought. She'll give you your money back. Obviously, we don't. If you sign up and then like 12 seconds later you realize you don't want to do this, like we're not going to make you prove that you did the work. Or you can go through the whole thing and on day 29 go, this isn't working for me. I'm not pleased with the results. We'll give you your money back. So if something's hanging up about that, I just want to be clear. You're not going to take any risk today. And you should ask yourself the question, when you leave here, like, what are you going to do? And what are you going to regret? Are you going to regret not signing up for this course and or not getting, potentially duped into something? You're like, I don't know about this. This is, an internet course. I don't know about this. Or are you going to regret missing an opportunity to, in the next 30 days, get 1,000 true fans and start making money off of your writing? And so whatever you do going from here, I want you to take that seriously and take this process and use it to succeed. If you'd like to work with me and my team through the Intentional Blog course, we'd be honored to guide you through that. If you want to go off and do it yourself, please let us know. I mean, I'm very interested in hearing about your success, but I want you to take that seriously. I believe that the world needs your words. It needs your message, and this process works, but it only works if you do. And again, just to be clear, this is the last chance for that offer.
Love it. All right. Why don't we do the final question then, Jeff? You ready for it?
Okay. Yes.
Guest 2348 said, how often does Jeff recommend you post articles on your blog?
Once a week. Yeah, start there. Start with once a week. Do it for 60 days. And if you want to do more than that, you can up the frequency from there. But doing it once a week is not easy. And a lot of times people go, I'm going to blog every day. And they do it for like 3 weeks and then they burn out. So try to do it once a week consistently. Write the best article you possibly can and, publish it the same day every week. Send out an email newsletter saying, hey, here's the new thing that I published. That's enough, guys. Do that. Start guest posting, sending traffic through other websites, again, through guest posting and social media sites, back to those articles. That's all you need. One post a week.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
And yeah, I just wanted to thank everybody for being here. Mindy says, Jeff, I love that you have a team working with you. Very well done. We've got a lot of people saying thank you, Jeff. So we appreciate you. I know you don't see the chat. Angie says, I really appreciated this webinar. So thank you again for doing this.
Cool. Thank you, Kyle. Thanks, everybody. Sorry for some of the technical issues. Appreciate you sticking with us through all of that. Guys, you're part of my tribe. I appreciate you so much. If there's anything we can do for you, let me know. If there's any questions that we didn't answer, just email us at jeff@goingswriter.com. Sandy is the first person to see those emails. She shares a lot of them with me and the rest of the team. We want to help you. We want to help you get the attention that your message deserves. Let us know if we could do anything with this webinar better. We're here to serve you. Let us know. Again, thank you for your attention and your trust. I don't take it lightly. Hopefully this was helpful to you. And thanks, Kyle, for all your help.
You bet.
All right, cool. Thanks, buddy.
See you guys.